Hey everybody, it's Dr. J. Tita here with Metabolic Effect. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about supplements for fat burning. This is a topic that a lot of people are interested in. I mean, everybody is interested in finding that one key thing they can take over the counter every morning that's going to ramp up their fat loss results. And it really is one of these things that I think we all have to kind of come to terms with, that there really is no one supplement that is going to deliver big time results for fat loss. The truth of the matter is, if you look at the research on fat burning supplements, almost all of them either do not work or only work to a small degree. And so in other words, one of the lessons that we can take is usually when you see a scientific reference or a study where these supplements are actually working, they're always in the context of diet and exercise. So let's go ahead and start there, and I think we can all pretty much agree that if you're not wanting to change your exercise and diet habits, any supplement you take is probably going to have zero benefit at all, and it's just going to be a waste of money. So I think that's one thing that we all should just be honest about and understand. The second thing is, though, if you're going to use these things, what are the ones that have been shown to be beneficial? Now, studies vary all over the place, and obviously one study here or there does not make or break a fat-burning supplement. But I think there are some good fat-burning compounds that people may want to consider taking. One thing we do want to consider, though, when we think about fat-burning supplements is to consider the fact that when you are taking stimulants, which almost every fat-burning product on the market has some form of caffeine or other stimulants in there that work on the catecholamines. Adrenaline and noradrenaline are two most potent fat-burning hormones in our own body. This is how most fat-burning supplements work. They try to ramp up this response and speed up our fat-burning capability. The problem with that is that oftentimes people can become resistant to their own hormonal action. A lot of people understand what this means in the context of insulin, but oftentimes people don't understand what this means in the context of the catecholamines. Constant use of stimulants, and people know what this is like with coffee, oftentimes can lead people to problems over the long term. So in other words, you can run into an issue where the adrenal glands no longer function appropriately anymore. In other words, they're not able to produce the same catecholamine response that they once did, and or the catecholamine receptors, the receptors for these fat-burning hormones, are down-regulated. And so now you're left with a metabolism that is worse off than it used to be. One of the products that we like, and one thing I'll say about that, by the way, is one of the best fat-burning supplements, if you do want to use a stimulant, is just straight-up caffeine pills or coffee. This is probably the best thing to do, and they should be done in the context of exercise. When they are used right before exercise, there is some evidence that they will increase the amount of fat burn during the exercise session. What about other products that have been shown to be effective? One very new product is a product called Leptosil that is present in a weight loss water called Solo. And this is a very interesting compound because it really is a compound that is very much like fiber. And if you think about the two most potent food-based fat-burning products, you want to think protein and fiber. The problem with fiber is we don't get enough fiber in our diets. Most Americans are getting less than 30 grams, most of them probably less than 15 grams a day if you're eating a very processed diet. But fiber shuts this off, and Solo and Leptosil is a proprietary superfiber, basically, and they've added it to a liquid. And you might be thinking, come on, Jay, that sounds like I'm going to be drinking a glass of mud, but this particular fiber compound is barely detectable in liquid. And so this Leptosil compound has been shown in research, again, in a study that was using a diet and exercise component. When you add this in, it was a 10-pound weight loss advantage over the diet and exercise group alone. That's a pretty big difference. Now, more studies need to be done, but we've been using this clinically, and it makes a lot of sense, something that we really like. Green tea is another one that is a great supplement for fat burning. It has a pretty good track record now of having modest to mild effects in fat loss for individuals. And green tea works very similar to the way stimulants work except that it doesn't interact with the catecholamine receptors the same way. Now, green tea taken with caffeine and a stimulant works better than green tea extract without, but it certainly does have an effect by itself as well. So look for supplements that have about a 25% to 50% standardized EGCG green tea extract. Those will be potentially helpful fat-burning supplements. Another potentially good one is Coleus forscoli or Forceline, which is another supplement that works very much like these stimulants do, based on cyclic AMP, which is a cellular messenger inside cells that is triggered off by stimulants. The reason that Forceline tends to work a little bit better is because it doesn't have some of the negative stimulant effects because it doesn't bind directly to those receptors, so there's no downregulation. There's a couple studies with it as well showing some promise. The other thing is, if you're looking at a particular fat-burning supplement, I want to share ours with you, Fat Burner Complex. What you want is, you don't just want something that has things like green tea in it and Forceline in it and caffeine in it to speed up your metabolism, so to speak, but you want things that are going to make your metabolism much more efficient. That's what the Solo Leptosil water does. It controls hormones that don't stimulate the metabolism but make you more efficient. By efficiency, I mean really what we're talking about is your metabolic processes may not change, but let's say you're burning this much fat at rest and this much sugar. To make your body more efficient fat burner, basically what you're doing is just raising the fat a little bit and lowering the sugar, but you're burning the same amount of calories. So really, when we think about stimulating the metabolism, that's really not a great way to think about it. It's better to think about it in terms of making the metabolism more efficient, not making you burn more calories, but making the calories that you burn more likely to be fat rather than sugar. One of the things that these supplements should do is do that, and they can do that by adding in nutrients that control hunger, that control cravings, and that balance energy levels. And so look for things that have chromium and vanadium in there to stabilize insulin and blood sugar. Look for things that have GABA and taurine in there to calm you and make you want to eat less. Look for products that have tyrosine or 5-HTP that shut down cravings. And so in this particular product, which is a Fat Burner Complex, you'll see the Coleus forscoli and green tea in here. We use those in our product simply because we don't like the potential negative effects of stimulant-based products. These work similar. And then we throw some Panax in there as well, ginseng, to help support the adrenal gland, to decrease some of the negative effects on adrenal function when you're exercising very hard. Then we put in here things like banaba leaf and vanadium and L-carnitine to help control insulin metabolism, as well as N-acetylcysteine and GABA to balance brain transmitters. Then there's some zinc in here, some chromium, some magnesium. A really good, well-rounded product. Those are the kinds that you want to look for. Try to avoid the simple 1 or 2 stimulating synephrines, caffeines, things like that. If you're going to use those, they should be used short term, and they can be beneficial in the short term, but make sure when you use those, and I'll give you a hint on how to use those, make sure that you are not getting adapted to it. So one of the things that is a good approach is flip a coin. Heads, you take the supplement that day. Tails, you don't. That keeps the body guessing. Another way to do it is 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So just make sure when you're using these stimulant products, for some people they can be effective, that you do it smartly. And as another option, look for things with green tea, Forceline, and these other potential products as well. So hopefully that's helpful to you when it comes to using a fat burner supplement. And just remember, if you're not going to make a concerted effort to a fat loss diet and exercise program, don't waste your money on any fat burning supplements. They probably won't do any good, and that includes the one we sell here at Metabolic Effect. So hopefully that gives you some great things to think about when you're thinking about fat burners.